Hello and welcome to the Dare Act Conversation series powered by The Grey Matter. Our endeavor with the series is to bring forward stories of lawyers who've dared to act differently. Now, our guest for today is a dynamic lawyer turned entrepreneur, Divyata Shergill. Given that she moved from one recession proof profession to another, let's find out from her when and how did wedding planning take over deal making.
Hi
Hello.
Shreya, how are
Hello, how are
you?
you? I'm good, how are
Very
you?
good. Very good and very excited.
Wonderful. Looks like law has not left you yet, huh?
No, it never can really. Once a lawyer, always a lawyer.
Always a lawyer. Welcome to the Dare Act series, and we're thrilled to have you with us today.
Thank you.
So, Divita, you've been
Hmm,
pretty much a straight A student all throughout your school life, is what I remember. You were a head girl at your own at
right,
school, Loreto, and you were also a science student, if
right.
I'm correct. Tell us what inspired you to choose law.
Well, I was also always a rebel without a cause. And
Ah,
I always never wanted to lead a very straight jacketed life. I wanted to try out something exciting. And I felt that law as a subject provides you with the opportunity to look at challenges and challenging situations and sort them out on time like the Gordian knot and not settle for a status quo. So it was with the intent of also pursuing a part of my passion, which was finding answers and the idea to I also realized early on in my school life through various experiences like participating in a lot of debates, quiz.
okay, we lost you.
Hello?
Yes, you're back.
Okay.
Sorry,
Where did
you
you
were
lose me
saying
at?
you realized very early
I
on.
realized early on in my school life as well through participating in a lot of debates, quizzes, competitions, that the biggest mantra for success in life is the ability to critically think and develop analytical skills. And I felt that
Hmm.
as a lawyer, I would have the perfect opportunity to master both of that.
Oh. Did you
So
have
that made
someone
me
in
choose law.
family who inspired you as well?
Not really. I mean, I don't come from a family of lawyers. And back in the days when I went to law school in 2002, for good students per se, law was never the first choice. And especially for science students, it was like, why do you want to do law? Why not engineering, or why not something else? So it was also at that point of time, pursuing law was also challenging that stereotypical mindset. And it was at that time that legal education was facing its revolution.
Yeah.
Bangalore was the first 5-year law school, which was started by Dr. Madhav Menon. NUJS, where I went, was the second law school started by him. So the legal education was also at the cusp of a big change, and it presented a lot of exciting possibilities at that point of time.
So very well thought decision.
It's all about
Wonderful.
gambles.
Sorry?
I'm saying life is all about taking chances and gambles here and there.
Absolutely. I don't know if it's just me. Can you see me clearly? Because your video
I
was a little
can.
hazy. You
I
can?
can.
Okay.
Can you
Let
see
me
me?
just go with, yeah, it's a bit hazy. I'm not sure why. Can I add you again? I think that'll
Yeah,
help.
sure. Do that.
Let me just, yeah.
Yeah.
I am not sure what's happening. Okay. Divyata, I've sent you a request. If you could just accept it. It says you're unable to join. Yeah,
Is it
there you
now?
are.
There I
Yes,
am.
perfect. Perfect now.
Okay, cool. I hope it works out this time.
Yes, absolutely. You practiced as a corporate lawyer for around 8 years before you took the decision to, leave, sort of quit the practice. Tell us a little bit about that, those 8 years that you spent working at a corporate law firm, especially with demanding practice areas like, capital markets and private equity, and how has that experience shaped you as a person?
Well, let me begin by saying that your years at a law firm teach you to focus, to be a marathon runner and not just a sprint runner. It teaches you to focus on the finish line, and it helps you to build your stamina day by day. I would say my years at EZP, first as a capital markets lawyer and then as a PE lawyer, taught me the art of negotiation. It taught me to work under pressure. It taught me how to deal with timelines. And also, I think the biggest learning in a law firm like EZP was you learn to unlearn the law and learn it all over again. Because when you go to law school, the whole approach to law, the way they teach is very different. I would still say when I graduated from law school in 2007 and all those years back, the way the law was taught then, and maybe it's changed now, was it's more geared towards a litigating practice, reading case laws, interpreting them, preparing arguments. Nobody in law school really teaches you how to be a corporate lawyer. It is whatever experiences you garner through your internships, and when you land up at a law firm finally to work, it's like a whole new world out there. And initially it's like, wow, is this the law that I really learned? So you not only learn the law differently, like, you understand that law is not just in bare acts, there's a lot more. You also acquire very important skill sets, which are very important as to be a successful lawyer. And all of them are like, I think the biggest thing is to learn how to work hard, to work under pressure. It's also how to critically think, to be quick on your toes, and the art of negotiation. So I think my years at EZB were phenomenal. And they've taught me so many things, which even helped me in my personal life and even where I am today as an entrepreneur. They were excellent.
That's really good to hear, actually. And what's amazing is, I don't know if it's good or bad, but these skill sets are not really taught to us in law school, and
Right,
these are pretty much left on us to know. So it also, at some level, it's on us to, make the most of
right.
opportunity and pick up what you're gonna learn.
Absolutely, you're right. And
So you also, sorry,
no, go on.
You also went ahead and pursued your LLM, in the initial phase after practicing for a couple of years. Tell
Right.
us the why behind that decision, and how has the experience of studying abroad at the Northwestern University, been for you personally and academically?
Well, I would begin to say is that the biggest reason why I chose to do an LLM was I realized that in everything in life, there are barriers and there are glass ceilings. Some of them are imposed on us, some of them are self imposed. Now, when you graduate out of law school, you're pretty young, you're 22, 23. You are thrown into the deep end of the ocean to swim as a professional. And you realize that there is a lot more to learn in terms of experiences. You want to fly with your own wings. You want to experience an altogether another world. And this is why I wanted, after, I had actually worked for 3 years when I decided to go do my master's. And the biggest reason was that I wanted to break that glass ceiling I was hitting as a capital markets lawyer. I wanted to broaden my horizons and, go for that interactive classroom discussions, try out something new. And I was very clear that I wanted to study in the US because I felt that US education gives you a very different perspective. And you realize it the first day you walk into the classrooms. The classrooms are not only interactive, they're massively, massively diverse. And by diversity, I mean not only people from all over the world. There are people, different age groups. You have the opportunity to study not only with lawyers from different countries, but also American undergrad students. You learn to study with MBA students. So there are people from different backgrounds. I would say, the biggest thing that, which I realized in my time at LLM in Northwestern was I had Afghan and Iraq war veterans who were pursuing law, pursuing an MBA degree. And the one student who, this friend of mine, he stayed in my, and he made me realize one thing was that there is never an age to stop learning. If you want to stay afloat in life and be successful, you have to always grow and learn. He was the 66-year-old American investment banker who quit his investment banking practice because he wanted to contribute and give back to the society. So he was pursuing a master's in human rights. So that makes you realize that there is no limit to, or no age limit to enter the classroom. You can go back to the classroom at any given point in your life. And you also learn to realize that, just because I have a particular professional degree, just because I'm a lawyer, or just because, I have, I've been serving the military, or I have, done business studies, I cannot change my profession. You can change your profession or change what you do at any given point of time. And I think that has been my biggest takeaway from my LLM experience. And then, the flexibility that you get as an LLM student in America to tailor make your own curriculum, your own schedule the way you want. One day you're doing classes with the law school, the other day you can pick up classes with the business school. So you learn that in this today's globalized world, the interdisciplinary approach is very, very important, and that really does help you go a long way in life.
Wonderful, and the sound of it is only so exciting, and I cannot imagine studying with a 66-year-old man and getting such life lessons, because it's these are the
Yeah.
incredible nuggets that you get, and you can only get it from experiences like these. That's wonderful.
Absolutely. I think there is no substitute to experience. Every education has to be rightly supplemented with the right kind of diverse, offbeat. I think the more offbeat or unique your experiences are, it really shapes you up differently.
Thank you for sharing that. When you came back after your LLM, tell us, did you have to go through the same recruitment process that happens for law firms? And according to you, getting that LLB degree, did it have incremental value in terms of the positions that you were offered once you came back?
Well, I would begin by saying that, when I went for my LLM, I was secure in the knowledge that I have a job waiting for me at EZB. And I loved my time at my law firm. I had great mentors, and AZB is a great place to work in terms of the competitive environment, the kind of exposure you get. So I was very clear that if I do come back to India, I would go back to AZB. So I really did not go through a rigorous recruitment process or go through the process of applying to a lot of places. I also had an offer from an international American law firm. That too, because previously I had done a transaction with them, and they wanted to give me an offer for Singapore. The reason I did not take it was because that was again to go back to capital markets. And after doing an LLM, I wanted to try out something new, and I made a complete switch to PE. So I was not getting that opportunity with that firm, and that option was available at AZB, so I took it. But having said that, I would say, in India, most people think for lawyers, if they want to do an LLM, or you just want to go party, or you just want a break from working. And, the LLM is not really given the value it deserves. Whereas if you go to, for students or, lawyers from European nations, from Latin America, when they go back to their countries armed with an LLM degree, they are given the benefit of the experience and the benefit of the education and that degree when they go back to their law firms. I think that is a mindset, or that is something that needs to change here a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually very true. And you rightly pointed out, because that's the first impression we get in India. Oh, so you're seeking experience, you want to chill and party. Oh, we get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has a very, very different value abroad. That's so rightly said. In law schools, we're not really taught management skills or practice development skills. And here you are after, you know, being a corporate lawyer for 8 years, you went ahead and you kind of made your mark in a very fragmented, unorganized industry, and highly competitive and demanding at the same time. The wedding industry that we have in the country. How did you zero down on Shaadiwish? What does Shaadiwish as a brand stand for, and what is it that you want to accomplish with this brand?
So I'm going to break your question down into three parts. First is why I made that switch. After coming back and, being in a transactional lawyer again, there was this temptation to not lead a very monotonous life. There was an urge to create my own identity and, to ride the wave of innovation. That is what drove me to quit my practice and create something of my own. Now, Shaadiwish, what is Shaadiwish? Shaadiwish is a wed tech startup. We, at that point of time in 2015, 2016, I realized that there is a huge gap and a massive opportunity in this unfragmented, disorganized industry, a massive opportunity to disrupt the way things work. Because even now, when there is a lot of competition to Shaadiwish, there are a lot of wed tech platforms. Still, majority of people get married, and while they're planning their wedding, they rely on recommendations. And after
Hmm.
having spoken and met with so many wedding vendors, I also realized that, um, for wedding vendors, they get most of their business through recommendations. Whereas there is this whole powerful digital tool, a digital world out there, which can really help you get business, and get legit business. Because today we live in a globalized world. I've seen that there are people, there are Indians living in the UK, in America, in Canada. They want to come and get married in India and they don't know where to begin. So Shaadiwish aims to be this holistic touch point for both the B2B and B2C segment. For
Hmm.
B2B segment, we help them create an online storefront to showcase their best work and increase their digital presence through collaborations, through campaigns, and helping them along the way to generate the right business for them. And for the B2C segment, again, everybody's, anybody who's getting married, every prospective couple has a dream wedding picture. And whether it's, irrespective of the budget, you see in any budget point or bracket, there are thousands and thousands of vendors. How do you find the right vendor for you? I mean, say a makeup artist or a photographer or a wedding planner, which worked for couple XYZ, may not work for you for a variety of reasons. So that's where we step in. A platform like us steps in and helps people find the right fit for them in the right budget. I mean, there is so many vendors out there, who are giving boutique services, who are doing outstanding work, but we just don't know of them. And the I think I would also like to talk by talking about my competition in a way that today there are a lot of platforms which are aggregating wedding vendors online. I want to say that we are different from them because we are not creating a yellow pages. I am not
Hmm.
listing all the 5,000 or 10,000 photographers in Delhi on my platform. We are working with targeted vendors. I say we have an OMFG model, where we work by creating original content for national and international vendors. We provide them a marketplace to find work, and that marketplace, of course, works for B2C. We work with a focused set of vendors, and our audience is also very focused. And the last part of any wedding planning is the huge gifting and merchandise section.
That's like summing up everything in one, Kitty. And as user friendly as it sounds, the thought of the amount of groundwork that must have taken behind setting the whole model up, it's just incredible.
I would say that, what we started as, we are completely different now. Because the first thing you realize, when you go to the market with a product, your your first product and the product goes through so much evolution, because you learn from the feedback. And that is very important for any startup, to be dynamic, to have the ability to adapt to every challenge that comes your way.
Wonderful. And that actually leads to my next question. What have been some of your biggest learnings as an entrepreneur?
I would say the first thing that I have learned is to be patient. I have learned that empires are not built overnight. It's a brick by brick process. And, I have truly understood the meaning of the phrase that Rome was not built in one day. So you realize as an entrepreneur that you have to learn to listen. You have to learn to listen not only to your audience, to your users. You have to listen to the chatter of your competition. You have to learn from your teammates. You have to build the right team. And I think at Shaadiwish, we are very lucky because our core team, what it was from the day we started, is still the same. And you cannot be a successful entrepreneur, or I say forget about success, you cannot stay afloat as an entrepreneur without the right team or people backing you. So
And how big is your team, if I may ask?
our team, I would say right now, is a size of 15 people. It's not a very big team. And, the pandemic has obviously, thrown its set of challenges. Everybody knows that right now, wedding industry, even though it's largely recession proof, but the pandemic has definitely impacted the way the weddings happen in India.
Yeah.
So yes, we are finding ways to, sail through this, and it's going all right.
Wonderful. If I was to ask you to draw out a parallel on your life as a dream maker and somebody who's now, I won't say a wedding planner, but like you're in the business of wedding, what are the
Right.
similarities in the two?
Well, I would first begin by telling you what is not similar. Now, as a lawyer, you have an understanding of a transaction, you have an understanding of a business, and you are merely facilitating that. You are, I would not say really an arbitrator, but you are someone who's making that deal happen, whether you act for the buyer or for the seller or for the investor or the company. Your job at the end of the day is dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But when it comes to being an entrepreneur or being, making this business work, you are the one who's really weaving and creating that structure. It is your thought. So there is, you are the one who's really making that baby. So in that way, the two things are very different. But having said that, I would say that the similarities are there in terms of your skill set. As a lawyer, you need to be a critical thinker. You need to have analytical skills. You need to be able to understand the pulse of the business to make that deal happen. So when you look at those kind of things, you realize that it's kind of the same boat. You're using the same skills to apply them just differently.
So the 8 years did help a lot in a
Of
good way.
course, I would definitely say that whatever you do in life, it always helps you at some point.
Wonderful. What would be a piece of advice to students who are currently pursuing the law and who would want to be working as a corporate lawyer at some point of time?
Firstly, I would like to tell them that, as Hussein Bolt said, that behind my, overnight success, there is 16 years of hard work. So for any student, who aspires to have a successful career in corporate law, you must understand that education is definitely very important, but your experience and your practical knowledge of law is very, very important. You should not be shy and wary of working hard. You should be open minded. And the most important thing to be successful as a corporate lawyer is also to be have the ability to network. You have to
Hmm.
learn to get out of your comfort zone and go out there, because especially if you're a young student who joins a law firm, every day there'll be terms and there will be things thrown at you which you have never heard of. You just have to be confident enough to find the answers and never be afraid to ask, because as a corporate lawyer, when you join a law firm, and law firms are so big, it can be quite intimidating and overwhelming. But it's a matter of a few months. You will be able to make your place there if you work hard and have an open mind.
That's wonderful. And my last question to you is, first tell me, did you, was it, was leaving the law, like, was it like a very, you've been thinking about the decision for a long time. Was it a very dragged kind of a thought, or was it something that you decided and you did it?
Well, I would say that I had very often dabbled with the thought of doing something different, because after a point, the monotony was setting in as being a lawyer,
Hmm.
one transaction after the other, you're constantly traveling. I mean, after a point of time, you begin to realize that it's more or less the same thing. So, yes, I was contemplating for some time that yes, I want to do something different, but I was not really able to narrow down to what I want to do, because honestly, when you work as a corporate lawyer, you really don't have much time to think, about anything else other than your work. So yes, I mean,
So,
it was something that I was thinking of for a while.
so if you had to give a piece of advice to somebody who's contemplating a switch in career and who may be at that brim where they don't really know what they should do and just not exactly sure of where to look at, what would you say to them?
Well, I would say that don't be afraid to take risks in life, because you have to try out something new. If you are at the point and at the cusp of that change, and in your head you've decided that you do want to try but you're not sure, I would say that go ahead, take that chance, because you can always get back to law. I mean, I feel that today, even though I've not actively practiced law for a few years, I think there is nothing, my experiences have taught me that if I do want to do that, I can go back and do it. The law degree and your years at a law firm or as a practicing lawyers are so good, like they ground you so well in the grassroots knowledge as a lawyer, that you can always come back to that. I mean, that base is secure for you. Now you just have to go and try out something new, and why lead a life of regret? Why turn 50 and think, oh, I wish I had tried something new?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being so candid. And it was indeed a very, very insightful conversation.
It
And I'm
was my
sure
pleasure.
everyone's taken their bit of inspiration from this one. The Grey Matter is building a community of lawyers who've dared to act differently. And we are really grateful that we have you with us in that
No,
community.
thank you,
So
Shreya. The pleasure is mine. Lovely chatting with you.
likewise, and thank you so much everyone else who's joined us live and who will be watching this video a little later. Do know that the Unsuited episode 5 is this Sunday at 5 o'clock, and we have a very exciting father son duo joining us. So don't forget to register. The registration link is in the Grey Matter bio handle, and we will see you on Sunday. Thank you so much, Divyata. Once again, I wish you a
Thanks,
very happy
Shreya.
weekend.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.